Hi everyone, welcome to Dimiras Dishes. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very classic Greek appetizer called Tiropita, which translates to cheese pie. Let me show you what we're going to need. Phyllo dough, so 1 pound of it. It comes in a package. Usually they're packaged in a pound, and you could find it in the freezer section of your supermarket. Most supermarkets carry it. If not, the Mediterranean markets should definitely have it. You need some unsalted butter, shredded Parmesan cheese, 2 eggs, pepper, a little bit of dill. I love dill. If you don't like it, go ahead and substitute your favorite spice. Your favorite herb, I should say. Olive oil, salt, feta cheese, and ricotta that I've drained. Okay, so you want to use definitely whole milk feta and whole milk ricotta. Please do not use fat-free, low-fat imitation cheese. Use the real stuff, use the good stuff, okay? It makes a huge difference. So I like to strain my ricotta. Ricotta contains a lot of water, so I kind of strain it so that way my mixture won't be liquidy and it won't thin out. It'll stay nice, thick, and creamy. Another thing about feta, they sell feta in the supermarkets now, pretty much in every supermarket, at least where I live. But you could find different types of feta. You could find chunk feta, like this. And then they sell feta crumbles. I don't like the feta crumbles. The feta crumbles are not really good quality. It's usually what's at the bottom of the brine bucket, and it's not good quality feta. So try and buy feta when it's in the chunk package sold in a chunk. If you can go and buy it in a Mediterranean specialty food market, that's even better. So let's begin by melting our butter. So I like to use unsalted butter since the filling will be as salty as I like it. You can make it as salty as you like it. I don't want to add extra salt, and just use the unsalted butter, that's fine. So I'm going to put it over the fire, over medium-low, and I'm going to allow that to melt. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the filling. So I'm going to crumble my feta cheese first. And feta cheese is really salty, so we're going to add salt last, okay? This dish is so good. I promise, just make it once for your family, for your friends, for your guests, and they're going to love you. It's so delicious. There are 3 cheeses on it. Who wouldn't like it? So I've crumbled my feta with my clean hands. I put in my Parmesan cheese. Let me rinse my hands. And now we're going to add our ricotta cheese that I've strained slightly. So about 1.5 cups. That's about right. And put this on the side. I'm going to add some pepper. A little bit or a lot, however much you like. About 1/4 teaspoon of dried dill. You can use fresh dill. Dill is one of my favorite herbs to use in food. I love it. I try to use it whenever I can when I'm making a meal. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit, not a lot, because we're using lots of butter for the phyllo dough, but this just needs a little bit of olive oil to kind of put it together. So the salt and the Parmesan cheese are both pretty salty, so I'm just going to mix this all together, give it a little taste, and before I add my eggs in there, if you're worried about, consuming raw eggs, then you would taste the mixture before you add the eggs in. And if it needs a little salt, go ahead and add it. The ricotta cheese is not salty at all, so it might need a touch more of salt. This makes a pretty big batch, you guys. So if you're going through the hassle of making this, you just might as well make a little extra. It freezes perfectly. You can just make extras, pop it in your freezer, and then if somebody comes and you're not ready, you don't have anything prepared, you just take it out and you put it in the oven and you bake it. It's so simple. So most of the time when I'm making something, like this, like tiropita or anything that's especially like a little appetizer style thing, I always like to make extra and stick it in the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to taste this. and check and see if it needs more salt. It's my excuse. Just needs a tiny bit. That feta is good. I'll add a little bit more black pepper. Okay, I'm gonna beat my eggs and then just put them in here. That's it. And give it another nice mix. Okay, that's it. You just want the egg to be incorporated in there really nicely and everything to be mixed well. And there you have it. Your filling is ready. The butter is melted. I'm just going to clean this area up and then I'll show you how to prepare the phyllo dough, how to cut it. Okay, so the butter is melted. I have my pastry ready. I've preheated my oven to 375 degrees. And the best way to cut this, now you can definitely take out your ruler if you want to be perfect, but I don't care about that. I just want 3 pieces. I want them to be as equal as possible. And this is the way I cut it. As equal as I can, so let's see. That's not too bad. Okay, it's not perfect, but hey, I didn't have to take out a ruler and do any of that either. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this on the side. I have a slightly damp towel that I'm gonna cover it with. Leave it in the plastic, guys. I didn't take the other 2 packs in the plastic out of the plastic for a reason. That is because phyllo, people are afraid of it, and there's no reason to be afraid of phyllo dough as long as you know the basic rules. You want to take it out of your refrigerator, definitely defrost it in your freezer overnight, first of all, because it's sold in the freezer section. So step 1, put it in the refrigerator overnight once you know that you're making this the next day, and then take it out about an hour or 2 before you make your pastry. And then it just, as long as it's at room temperature, it'll be fine. And another thing, once it's out and it's exposed to the air, these are very, very fine sheets of dough, so they dry up fast. And they literally, if you leave them out too long, they'll dry up and then they'll start crumbling like paper almost. So you want to keep it covered and work as fast as you could. You don't have to be that fast. So now we're going to move the knife and the spoon. Now I have my melted butter and my filling. Take a look at that filling. So, so, so good. Okay, I need my spoon. Okay, so we're gonna take a sheet at a time, and I'm just gonna lightly brush it with butter. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm gonna do 2 layers at a time. 2 layers of phyllo at a time. Also, I have my tray. So today I'm just going to be making a small tray. I'm not having too many guests over. And if I make all of a full tray, I promise I'll eat it all by tonight. So I'm just going to make a little bit for myself and for my children. So I'm going to make a small tray. And then the rest I'm going to freeze. I'm going to show you how to do that a little later. Okay, so I buttered 2 sheets of phyllo. And I'm going to take a tablespoon, put it on the bottom, and we're going to fold it kind of like a flag. We're going to turn it into a triangle. So you bring one corner up and you keep your finger down, bring the other corner up and keep folding it like this, keeping it tight, okay? You don't want to make it loose, otherwise the filling will seep out. Just like that, you have little triangles. Let's do it again. We're going to keep doing this until we're done with all of our phyllo dough, and it should be just enough filling for 1 pack of phyllo. Oops, forgot to butter this. Just like that. These make delicious appetizers. If you're making them for a party, you can make them even a few weeks ahead of time. Especially, you know, just put them in the freezer, make them a day that you have a lot of time, and then just pop them in the freezer, wrap them up, and take them out before the party, and heat them up, and they'll be the first things to be gone off that buffet table. Just like this. So I accidentally took 2 sheets of phyllo. That's okay. You can layer 2 sheets or 3 sheets or even 4 sheets if you like a lot of pastry in your tiropita. That's fine. These are my favorite, and we didn't just eat these growing up as appetizers. We had them as dessert too. So we love cheese and honey is big in Greece, and so sometimes when my mom would make these for guests and we had leftovers, we would just warm them up and drizzle Greek honey over them. And I promise, if you try that, it's so good. It makes a really, really nice dessert, that savory and sweetness together. And if you've never had Greek honey, go ahead and buy some and try it. It honestly tastes better than caramel. It's thicker. It's completely different than the honey that I've ever had over here in America. It's super thick and it's a little sweeter. It even has like hints of thyme and oregano in it. Not in like a pizza kind of way. I know pizza sauce has oregano and it has that flavor. It's nothing like that. It's just really, really nice, and it's kind of like a floral type of taste to it. Okay, so I'm going to continue making these tiropitakia. And like I said, I've already preheated my oven to 375 degrees. I'm going to make sure it's nice and hot. I'm going to finish making these. You can go on the website, www.dimirasdishes.com, and print out this whole recipe and go ahead and make it. So I'm going to finish doing this. And as soon as I'm done filling up my tray, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm done making my tiropitas. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 in the small tray that my kids and I are going to eat when they're ready. And then I also made whatever was left over. And I'm just going to wrap this tray in plastic and I'm going to freeze it. So you don't bake and freeze. You just freeze and it's in this state. Okay, so in this step, if you're not going to make this if you're not having guests over that same day, just wrap it up in saran wrap and just put it in your freezer. That's it. It's simple. But since I am going to bake this, I have some butter left over and I'm going to brush the tops with butter. Butter makes everything better, right? If you don't have butter on hand, or if you don't like using butter, I don't know why. I think I was born on the planet butter, but anyway. I love using butter, so I like using butter, but if you don't like it, go ahead and use olive oil. That's fine. I'm not a fan of margarine, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I would either use butter or olive oil. Those would be my only 2 choices. And I have made it with olive oil, and it comes out really, really good. But butter just adds that extra nice flavor. So since these are not frozen and they're just freshly made, I'm going to put them in the oven. The oven has preheated to 375 degrees. They're going to bake for about 20 to 25 minutes until you see that they're nice and golden on top. So my oven takes about 25 minutes. Sometimes it takes 30 if I have more things in there. Just keep an eye on it. And you know how your oven works. Some people's oven cooks faster, some cooks a little slower. So just keep an eye on them. And as soon as they're golden brown on top, they're ready. All right, so the tiropita is out of the oven. And as you see, it's got nice and golden brown. So let me put it on a plate and show you what it looks like. It's nice and flaky and crispy, and then the filling is going to be nice and creamy and cheesy. Let me show you what the filling looks like. Even though I'm a very impatient girl, I am definitely not going to bite into this until it cools down a little. That's what it looks like inside. Look at that. Deliciousness right there on the plate. So I don't know how I'm going to wait, but I'm going to have to wait a few minutes until this cools down because I've burned my tongue many, many times because of my impatient nature. So go on my website, www.dimirasdishes.com, get the recipe, make it, impress your friends, your guests, everyone. Subscribe to my channel and leave me comments below. I do read them and I do answer them. So if you want to learn how to make anything, go ahead and post a little comment and then I'll teach you how to make it. See you next time. Bye, everyone.